Hey, you don't know me, but I am your dangerous angel. I am a Australian trans girl, and I'm sort of restarting my YouTube channel because I want to do like a little bit to kind of help other trans people. I'm nearly 28 years old, and I'll be 28 in May, and I didn't have my click or my egg cracking until I was like 26, and it sort of burns me so much thinking about like, why did I not think of this earlier? Because there's so many like small things throughout my life that I did notice, but like because they were just one at a time, I didn't see them as that meaningful, and they just went to the back of my head. So like I'm just wanting to restart this YouTube channel to like put out little videos of bits and pieces, which, you know, if I don't know, if you're like a young person, like hopefully younger than I was, whether whether you're a kid or a teenager, like thinking, you know, something feels wrong about like the way that like everyone perceives you and like who everybody like thinks you are. If that feels wrong for you, maybe this stuff might help. Or even if you know, maybe if you're like someone who's like later than I am, who has been like going through this sort of thoughts for your whole life, maybe it might help you as well to discover yourself. So the first thing, so yeah, just a little introduction, but like as the first thing just for this video is thinking about who did you, in like sort of like media, who did you kind of like look up to, like in terms of like a strong positive influence? And for me, like growing as well, you can see behind me, it's like, yeah, I'm a train girl and like also into cars and stuff as well. And you know, like Thomas the Tank Engine. Yes, yes, I'm a Thomas girl. So yeah, like I love Thomas the Tank Engine, like Herbie the Love Bug, Brum, and like Woody from Toy Story. Like, and like, yeah, those four things, I think they were very much like burned into my like childhood. But on the other hand as well, like several other shows like Kim Possible, The Wild Thornberrys, Totally Spies, those sort of like girl shows, they were like also like deeply like in my mind back then as well. And like, well, you might be thinking, okay, what's the difference between the like the girl characters and the boy characters in those? But it's like the girls are human, the male characters aren't, right? It's just like, I mean, yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine, Herbie and Brum both being cars, and like Woody, despite that he's humanoid, like he reiterates all the freaking time that like they are toys, so they're not like human people, right? And oh my gosh, yeah. And like I think like despite that I had like a bigger like affinity towards the male things, I think that's more so because I had way more access to watch those. So like, you know, Thomas Tank Engine, I had loads of like videotapes and DVDs. I had like a Brum videotape. I had like several, like I had most of the Herbie movies. And like I always loved watching and rewatching Toy Story like over the whole time as well. But like, you know, Kim Possible, like for me, you know, when I was little, I was like just old enough that it was like on TV, like when it was originally airing, but that was Disney Saturday morning cartoons. So like only when I was able to actually like be awake to see them. And then like a bit later, like a friend of ours like had like the Kim Possible, so the drama on DVD, which I like borrowed from them like a lot. And then like the Wild Thornberrys, like that was on TV occasionally, semi-often. Yeah, like the Wild Thornberrys and like Totally Spies, they were both on TV semi-often, but I could never watch them whenever I wanted, just because I didn't have any like sort of media at home to be able to watch them. And so, but very much like, you know, Kim Possible and like Eliza from the Wild Thornberrys and like Totally Spies. What's her name? Carmen from Spy Kids as well. Like, like very, very much so in all this media. Like very much I very much saw that like I wanted to be the girls for being girls and like how strong they were as girls. But like, even though I relate to like Thomas and like Herbie and like Woody, very much it was for like all non-human traits. You know, like Thomas is like a hardworking steam engine. Herbie because of autistic. You can probably tell I'm a bit autistic, can't you? Like autistic non-verbal things, and then Woody. Like again, Woody like sort of standing up for like kind of my childhood values, but again, he's not. Yeah, again, like saying that constantly that like he is a toy. Yeah, so it's all. I don't know, a lot of things with that, and also if my thoughts are not terribly like cohesive, fair enough. I'm a bit rambly again for the third time. Autistic. Probably ADHD, which I was looking at before I had my crack, which I was going to look at before I had my crack, but then that happened. Suddenly it's like, you know, that's probably a bit more important to work out that. I think for the moment I need to get back at some point. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna for the moment just like pass this around to like a few people, see kind of how it goes, and I'll probably just like slowly do. Probably not like how was it 6 minutes long now? Like not insanely long videos about this stuff because they're all like very like specific thoughts, although I could talk about them for quite a decent amount. A bunch, yeah, again, like a bunch of very specific thoughts, which is like mean sort of like knowing that I didn't want to be a boy, that I should have been a girl. But again, like when all those thoughts happen over like 26 years, and like none of them at the same time. You do think about them. They are like good thoughts to think about, but then it's just like it's not really that much, and just goes in the back in there. So yeah, so hopefully, again, if you're like me and sort of like wondering about, if you're wondering about like, you know, am I this person who like it says on a piece of paper that I'm this, and like everyone perceives me as this, but you don't feel like that actually is you. If you feel like that is just a shell and you're not actually living as yourself, I hope like my thoughts I'm putting out here might help you to realize who you should be. And that's kind of everything for the moment. Okay, your dangerous angel out there.